What is up, my friends? We are back with another episode of the Anfield Agenda podcast. Only this time, we're going to do things a little bit differently. Myself, Mr. Crosby, and Mr. Stonage got together, and the brain trust that is the three of us decided we're going to focus on transfers for this episode. We are coming towards the January transfer window, and we all have our fingers crossed that Santa brings us a few late presents. So I thought we'd go through, gentlemen, and focus the areas of the pitch that we think we need, some players that we like, and of course there will be some room for a little bit of freelancing for Mr. Stonage and Mr. Crosby. But, gentlemen, before we get cracking, Chris, that is a wonderful moustache, very of the time of year. How was your Christmas?
Wonderful, mate. Absolutely wonderful. Nice and quiet. But the best is yet to come. That's all I will say. The next 3 to 4 days, my alcohol consumption, I think maybe for the year, is going to go up about 50%. It's going to be an incredible time. But yeah, how was yours?
It was good. I officially became a coffee nonce like yourself.
Yes. I'm
too good for pod machines, Chris. I'm too good for a pod machine. I went straight in full Siemens EQ 500, automated system, one push, beans, crushed, button, bang, coffee. All in one go.
For what?
All of it in one go. You pour the beans in, you just push the button, it grinds it, does everything for you.
What was the make of the company? What was the make of the company, sorry?
Siemens.
Great.
There's your new darts name, Craig Siemens Machine. Houlden, there you go.
I wish, gents. What would be your typical choice, Chris, around Christmas? Like if you were to go out and have a couple of non-lager, say, what would be your typical choice?
Aperol Spritz is one of my favourites. I quite enjoy an Aperol Spritz.
Excuse me, a what?
An Aperol Spritz. Do you not know what
you're gonna have to explain that to me? Sorry.
Okay, so
we don't speak middle class here. What's that?
You know what Aperol is?
I'm proud to say I don't know.
Okay, it's sort of like a spirit / liqueur. 3 shots of Prosecco, 2 shots of that, and then a shot of soda water. Aperol Spritz, exceptional beverage.
This is giving me awful Appletini vibes. This is giving me awful Scrubs. JD from Scrubs Appletini vibes. I'm not going to lie to you.
Try it. It's a bit orangey. It's quite orangey. Do you like orange sort of things?
Love it, yeah.
Oh, you will enjoy this.
I love Prosecco as well.
Get on the Aperol Spritz. It will change your life.
I might have to try one. I'm not going to admit publicly that I do, but I'll tell you, Chris, behind the scenes if I have or haven't. Mr. Crosby, a man of much simpler alcoholic tastes there. How was your Christmas and what did you indulge in, if indeed anything?
Just cans of Heineken really is all I indulge in, just fairly straight to the point. Yeah, that or red wine. I'm a bit of a red wine man at Christmas and no other time of the year. But yeah,
and he has the cheek to say he's not middle class, huh? Red wine, Chris.
Come on, it's the €8 bottles out of Tesco, like it's not fucking good stuff here, like. But yeah,
Conor Rioja Crosby, there's the darts name for you.
Before we get into anything, I those students out there. So I say recently, about 2.5 years ago, I was a student. Red wine and Coke. Have you ever tried that?
Now we have to make something pretty clear here, Chris. We are talking about Coca-Cola, yes?
Coca-Cola, yes. Coca-Cola. Red wine and Coca-Cola. It's a delicacy in Spain called calimocho, and it is unbelievable.
I'm not having that red wine and Coke is classed as a delicacy anywhere, Chris. I'm not having that. Does it have to be a specific type of red, like a Rioja?
No, it can be anything you want. It can be anything.
So it could be a Cab Sav, could be anything like.
It could be any red.
Cab Sav, look at this.
But it makes
the lingo and everything.
It makes a wonderful red wine and Coke is the best house party drink you could possibly have because it's got a little bit of class, but it's still cheap enough.
It's got a little bit of class. I don't know, Chris. We'll see in the comments.
It's just watering down wine here. That's all it is, like, isn't it?
Yeah. All he's short of saying is 2 bits of ice. That's all he's short of saying in it as well. There,
we should just bid off the transfers and just talk about alcohol for the whole time. That sounds great. That sounds like a great podcast.
So Crosby, you let me down. If I would have almost said certainly Captain Morgan's was introduced into your Christmas somewhere.
I had a little bit, to be fair. Over Christmas was more beer, but I did have a Captain Morgan and Coke at one point. So yeah, I forgot about that, to be fair. Yeah, the Captain.
It's the only drink I know we like. So every holiday I ever go when I bring him back something, the only thing I know about is Captain Morgan's. And he may have only told me once in his life he had a Captain Morgan's once, but now forever I'm associating him with Captain Morgan's.
You can't get 6 packs of cans in the airport, to be fair, as well. So it's probably a good choice, really, isn't it?
There you go. It is mad how spiced rum has become such a huge thing. You know, every alcohol, gin had its year as well. Like
Gin's
that
no
went through.
bollocks, by the way. Gin's a ridiculous alcohol.
Oh, I hate
It's,
gin.
it's
Horrible.
mascara thinner. That's all gin is.
It's like, what's the point? Anyway, Mark Ginhey, anyone? Mark Ginhey, centre back target? No.
Oh, I don't know, Chris. Liverpool have their own gin, by the way. Liverpool have a branded gin. There you go. I've never actually. Do you know what I can't get? Can you said Coke, rum and Coke?
Yeah.
I can never have a fizzy drink with any spirit. So if I have like a vodka, it would be with cranberry, pineapple juice, orange juice. I don't like fizzy drinks inside of any alcohol.
Okay, that's an interesting.
Vodka
Am I
Red
alone
Bull
in
is
that
well,
one?
to be fair.
And also, before we finish up the alcohol chat, what type of red wine, Mr. Crosby? Or are you not too fussed?
I drink anything, to be fair, but a nice Australian Shiraz now is good now. That's the only one I actually know that I like. Everything else just says exactly the same to me, to be honest. So,
There you go. As long as you didn't come out with the phrase West Coast cooler, we're all good.
Oh, no, definitely no.
So do let us know in the comments, ladies and gents, what your own tipple of choice is at Christmas. And of course, there are other brands of cola available. It doesn't have to be Coca-Cola, but if you drink Pepsi, you're dead to me. So let's talk about whether... Oh, Chris is a Pepsi drinker. I can see that down the bottom.
Pepsi Max.
Diet Coke.
Izzy likes Diet Coke. I like Pepsi Max.
I'm on Team Izzy.
All
But
right.
then again, I usually am on Team Izzy in these debates, Chris, haven't I?
Very much so, yeah. Very much so.
So, gentlemen, are we going to be brave or stupid enough not to bring in another centre-back in January? There's lots of reports linking us with Mark Gay, but most of them, Conor, are pointing towards a summer move for Mark Gay. What we have seen, though, a report from Sky Sports suggested that Crystal Palace believe that the only club that would be willing to pony up some money for Mark Gay in January is Liverpool. So where do you think that leaves us?
It's an interesting one, to say the least. I think Konate's future probably comes into it a bit as well. But we have to bring in a centre back. I don't think it necessarily needs to be Mark Gahey. If we can get him, fair enough. But I'd be fully on board with bringing in someone like, let's say, an Ordonez, a bit of a younger profile, someone into 19 to 23 or 4 range, and then get Mark Gahey in the summer. I think that would set us up nicely. But either way, we have to bring in someone, because we can't rely on the options we have. Everyone is injury prone, and we just basically have no options there at the minute. So whoever it is, bring someone in, whether that's Gahey or not, but someone does have to come in my opinion.
Chris, sticking on the Mark Gay situation for a minute, chatting with somebody during the week, and this all led from a post from somebody on X. I did delve into the managerial situation and the future and stuff like that. And one thing that was actually mentioned to me was that apart from Mark Gay being somebody that may come in the summer, his manager may follow him. So do you think in any way their own contract situations are linked at all? Because obviously we know Oliver Glasner isn't committed yet to a new contract at Palace. That's up at the end of the year. Mark Gay is up obviously at the end of the year. And in my little very weird tinfoil hat wearing, I'm starting to throw Adam Wharton into the conversation with Glasner as well. But what do you think happens there? Do you think Oliver Glasner moves on from Palace? If so, where to? And on Mark Gay, when are we signing him?
I'm still clinging on, and it might be an outdated thought, that Mark Gahey was in a Liverpool kit, and he was, someone who we were there. We were literally there and ready to announce him as a Liverpool player in the summer. I still think that holds weight. Maybe not as much weight as it might have done if we were willing to pay money. I don't think we will go and sign him this January. I just don't think we will. I don't think the club will see the value in that. In terms of Glasner, it's weird. I don't really see him as a big team manager. He reminds me a little bit of Unai Emery in the way that he operates. Not saying that Unai Emery could go and win the Premier League, but Aston Villa aren't, a top 7-8 club in terms of size in the Premier League, in terms of the budget and everything like that. Fans maybe, but not anything else. He reminds me that I don't think he maybe can make that step up to an elite club just because of the way he plays. I'll be willing to be proven wrong because he seems like a nice guy, but I don't think those two are really, really intrinsically linked. I mean, the only way I could see that is if Glasner went to Bayern or something like that, but companies flying there. So why would they go and bring someone else in? Yeah, Palace is a really interesting situation because they could realistically still finish in European places, do quite well in the Conference League, and then what happens? You know, their manager and their captain leaves. It feels all a bit odd there at the moment, in a weird place to be.
I mean, I had a similar conversation, Connor, that Chris was talking about with the Oliver Glasner stuff with somebody on one of the streams recently. And I guess my response back would be something like, Arne won the Dutch league and came in. Oliver Glasner's won the Europa League. He's won the FA Cup. He's proven that he can outwit and outthink many coaches in the Premier League on the big occasions. So, I'm again not saying it's going to happen, but it did ease my concerns a little bit when I thought more deeply about the potential for Glasner. I'd feel far more comfortable that he could make the step up than maybe an Andoni Iraola.
Yeah, like I said, there's a bit of pedigree there, at least with the Europa League victory and stuff. But I feel like at times you think like Liverpool, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, it has to be like these top level managers like Klopp, Guardiola, these. But like the amount of I won't say random managers, but just people you wouldn't really consider to be absolute top tier managers who have won Premier Leagues, who have won Champions Leagues. It doesn't necessarily always have to be a big name. And like you said, Slot came in, won the Premier League. I'm sure Glasner could do it as well if he did come in. Whether he does or not is another thing. But I wouldn't be completely against it. If Slot is given his marching orders, and I think Glasner, I don't know if he'd be my first choice, but I certainly wouldn't be my last. I think he would be pretty decent. I think he'd give it a good go, in fairness. So it'll be interesting one to keep an eye on. But yeah, I wouldn't have any complete worries about him if we did go and get him.
The thing with Glasner is, it says, I totally get your point and appreciate your points that he has done an incredible job at Palace, brilliant job at Frankfurt before that. But stylistically, I just don't think his teams fit. The way that he plays, he's a very counter-attacking manager. It's very similar to Emery in the way that they set up. I just don't. That's why I don't see it. I think with Arne Slot, there was a style in place at Feyenoord where they think that could be easily scalable to a Premier League giant like Liverpool. Same with Jurgen Klopp at Dortmund. Whatever. I don't think the style of play that Palace have is scalable to Liverpool. I think we're seeing it at United. I don't think they will ever go on and achieve as much as they can because of the way that Amorim plays.
I wonder though, Chris.
Same.
I wonder, and again, that's a very fair point, but I wonder, are we, he likes a back three. And I would make an argument that that's probably a direction I'd like to see Liverpool move in over the course of the next window or two. Anyway, because we need to add centre-back depth. I've spoken openly about the fact, I think, on both sides, we have great wing-back options. Midfielders, we know we've got an abundance of them, a number 10 or 2 in the system. So that's kind of why it started to link in my head. And if Arne does stay, and let's be honest, again, we all want Arne to turn it around and prove everybody, including me, wrong. Absolutely, we do want that. But I could see a world where Glasner could come in and that shape could work for us.
I'd love it. I've publicly advocated for someone like Xabi Alonso, who plays, albeit a more attacking style with the players that he's had, but away with 3 at the back. But the issue is, and we'll talk more about this on the pod, but we don't have the squad for that, do we, at the moment? But we do have the bare bones of it, the likes of Kerkez and Frimpong, who I think have played really well in recent weeks anyway. But they are, I think, naturally more wing-back players. So, yeah, I'd be intrigued to see what would happen. But as we all say, come on, Arne, keep going with this run of form and we'll turn it all around.
Yeah, and we do want it to be turned around, absolutely. I want to kind of throw 2 names together, gents, for the next centre-back conversation. Nico Schlotterbeck and Alessandro Bastoni. And the reason I want to put them both together is far more strong links to Spain and potentially Germany for Schlotterbeck to Bayern Munich than there are towards us. I keep getting inundated with Liverpool fans coming into the streams at night, and like myself, all dreaming of the possibility of Bastoni, and all asking why we're not being more linked with Schlotterbeck. So Schlotterbeck at 26, heavily linked with a move to Bayern Munich. I think we can agree on that. I've seen Barcelona's name being mentioned as well. We know Madrid are in the market for a centre back. I just don't think it's likely either of those 2 would come to Liverpool. And Connor, I want to get your take on let's start with Schlotterbeck. Do you think we should be in the mix there? And why do you think our name isn't really being mixed around too much?
Yeah, I think it's kind of cooled off a bit. Last few months, there's been a few links to Schlotterbeck, but it has kind of cooled off recently. But I think we could do a lot worse than him, to be fair. He's 26. I think he's a German international. I'm sure he's a very top level
Captain at Dortmund.
Captain of Dortmund. Like he plays off the left side and he's good at long pinged balls. Maybe he could be the long-term Van Dijk successor even there, to be fair as well. Probably can play in a back three if we do go that way. I think probably not too expensive for the profile and quality of player he is, due to the fact that he's coming to the end of his contract. So I think it could definitely be one. I'd definitely take him. Like, I think he would be at a decent price if we could get him, but more than likely he'll end up at Bayern. But I definitely would take him, because anything I've seen about him or read about him, everyone seems to rate him very, very highly. So definitely would take him.
For me, Chris, he goes into that category of, I'm almost afraid to let myself think it's possible, because as Conor finished up with, in my heart of hearts, I think he does end up at Bayern.
Yeah, and I think, like, look, in terms of centre-backs that Liverpool have bought ever, if you think about it, realistically, we've not really signed many centre-backs in our Premier League history that have been at the peak of their powers, apart from one big dog.
He's done all right, hasn't he?
He's done all right. He has done well. It just doesn't seem very Liverpool, really, to go out and spend, go and buy a player like Schlotterbeck, really. I think Bastoni would be the dream for me. I genuinely think he's one of. I really want to see him in the Premier League. Like, even if it's not with Liverpool, the football fan of me wants to see Bastoni in the Premier League. I just think he'd suit so well, but I just don't see him leaving Italy. It seems a bit like, you remember, we were constantly linked with Nicola Barella all the time, like every single
even
window.
Paddy the Baddy, I was crying out for a bit of Nicola Barella or Nico Barella as well.
It's every single window we were linked with him. It's just like, it's quite rare that Italian players come to the Premier League.
And when they do, they get thrown under the bus by Arna.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Or do their ACLs on their debut one, luckily, like.
Yeah, or do that, yeah. Schlotterbeck, I don't see why it's unrealistic. Like, the only issue is Real Madrid. Like, I don't see, or well, actually Bayern Munich are actually a massive threat. But Barcelona I don't see as a threat really at all at this point. Those two clubs, I think, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, and Man City, Arsenal are the big five in Europe now. So, and PSG, big six. So those are the six that are really competing. Barcelona, I think, are a level below that now. So if we go in and Bayern don't, I think we're pretty much favourites for him.
I did see Bastoni like the post from some Barcelona fan account that said, "Come to Barca, bro." I mean, it could mean nothing, but I mean,
the finances at Barca are so ridiculous, though. They can't afford that now, surely.
I think with the new revitalized Camp Nou and the fact that they're selling, I think they've sold off like 100 million quid's worth of posh seats to some investment fund or something like that. You just never know, man. There's a lever everywhere, apparently. Maybe Spotify, go in again. I don't know.
Barcelona wrapped, just everything you can want, everything you get. Like, just they'll sell anything. Just please give us money.
Yeah, and before we move on to the last name on the list, and I think the one we're all probably the most excited to discuss, I just want to get your take, and I'll start with you, Conor. What do you think happens with Ibu, mate, at this point? Because we are now, as we record this, a few days away from the transfer window opening, and not just that, him being legally and contractually allowed to talk to clubs outside of England about a move in the summer on a free. And it concerns me for two reasons. One, even with the best of intentions, if they're still negotiating, the headlines are going to be written. He's going here, he's going there, he's leaning here, his agents are talking there. And it's another negative talking point amongst the fan base and frustration. So what do you think happens?
It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because going what you want to happen and what will happen is very different things. But I think if you'd asked me like 3 months ago, I would have said he was definitely off. If you'd asked me the day after those Real Madrid stories were shut down, I would have said he was definitely staying. And now I'm really 50-50, to be honest. But I thought, like, within that week of that Madrid report coming out, I thought that would be like, right, we're going to hear now. It's nearly done. Announced probably around now. But there's still no chatter even that getting close. Like, we keep seeing the odd time that Liverpool are confident. But then the next day you see that he wants 350 odd thousand pounds a week. Like, we're not going to offer him that. We'll probably offer him somewhere around the 200,000 mark, or maybe a little bit less. And it's probably fair just for the length of time he's here, the fact he plays every game, the stature of his profile in the squad and everything. But I don't know what happens at this point. Like, I'd like him to stay ultimately, but again, I am just fed up of hearing about it. And I'm not going to cry about it if he does leave, but I think I'd probably say 55% stays, 45% goes at this point, but I could be completely wrong on that. And he could be signing a pre-contract with Bayern Munich next week. But I think even just his form as well doesn't help his case, like with us or with anyone else. Like, who's going to give him like 250 or 300,000 pounds? So like, I think given his form, I would say he probably stays because he won't have much bargaining power with other clubs or with us, to be fair. So we'll have to back down on his demands at some point.
What would be your line in the sand if you were Richard Hughes on a wage number for him, Conor?
I'd say about 200,000. I wouldn't go above that. I'd probably try to get him on lower, but I think 200 will be the absolute max. And like, I know that's high, but again, for a player who plays pretty much every single game and has been here a couple of years, like when you look at other players and other like teams who pay big wages, I think 200 probably is about fair, maybe the 180, 200 range, but I wouldn't be going up anywhere near the 250s, 300s.
I'm in exactly the same place, Chris, as Conor on that one. Anywhere from 160 to 200 I could live with. I don't think he is as important or as senior as maybe he's trying to make out negotiations. And one report worried me this week. Our friends at Anfield Index posted a quote from Dean Jones of ESPN, and it said, "It is believed that Ibrahim Konate's intermediaries have been working to get a Real Madrid move back into the picture." And that's these type of reports are what concerns me, because are the negotiations in Liverpool in good faith, or are they a delaying tactic to see what options become available?
Honestly, I suppose this isn't very YouTube friendly, so apologies, but I'm just totally indifferent. I just don't care. Like genuinely, I like about this. Like the way that he's playing it is like he's some sort of like uber like important guy to this squad. I just don't think he is. Like he is a starter, but I think he's very replaceable. Like everyone we've spoken about, I think would be an upgrade on him. So I don't think he's in the position to be saying I demand, you know, massive wages, or I'm in a position that I can go and join Real Madrid. I like, and I'm not being harsh here. I really like Konate, but I just don't think he is that good. Like seriously, I like, even when we had the likes of Joel Matip, when Matip was at the club, I thought Matip was always above him. You know, Kwanzaa overtook him under Jurgen Klopp. And let's not forget, Kwanzaa might return at some point with the whole.
I think he will, by the way. I think he absolutely will return.
So we're in the situation with Leone as well, is there? Like, he is probably the most replaceable player in the squad, in my opinion. Like, there's so many centre backs out there that I honestly, I would not care if he stayed, because I think he'd be great. Like, all right, decent, good player to have around. I wouldn't care if he left, because I think he's the most replaceable player we've got.
I just want it resolved publicly, Chris, before we go into January, because what I don't want is a player's performances dropping and everyone looking for reasons why, being his head being turned or blah, blah, blah. I just like to know. One way or the other, I'd like to know.
I mean, I just don't think he's got the gravitas to be doing that. I don't know where he's got this idea from. Like, if you're Mo Salah or Virgil van Dijk, who have obviously contributed so much, I'm not saying he hasn't, but he's been an extra, really, in comparison to them. Like, yeah, if you're Mo Salah or Virgil van Dijk, you can go demanding 400 grand a week and kicking and piss around, because you're just that guy. When you're someone like that, I just don't see it. I really don't see it. It sort of like, it semi winds me up, because I'm just like, just get on with it. Like, no one really cares. You know what I mean?
I'm kind of that way as well, and I kind of just think like I'm bored of it all at this point, and we've been through too many of these over the last few years. So I want to come on to the exciting last name on the list that we were talking about off air before we went live. But I want to caveat why I think this is possible now, maybe in January. A report again today said that AC Milan are interested in Joe Gomez, and a move that they tried to get at the very, very, very end of the window that obviously time beat them on, and Liverpool didn't get Mark A. So there's talk that could happen again, but Liverpool would only sanction it if they can find a replacement. And that's the part that kind of made me think, well, okay, if that report has some truth to it, then Liverpool must be looking. So the name, Conor, that I'm going to bring up is a name that we've scouted extensively behind the scenes and had a look at, and that is Joel Ordonez. Plays for Club Brugge, 21 years of age. I knew he came through the Independiente del Valle system in Ecuador, but I didn't quite know how many great players they brought through till you researched it, mate, and found that, 3 in the last few seasons alone had come through and gone on to good things from this club.
Yeah, who was this? It was Caicedo, Pacho, and Nkapie, wasn't it? Like three very good
Not
players.
too shabby for an
Not too shabby
Ecuadorian
at all,
club
no.
who've reduced over the last few years, and now Ordonez.
Yeah, like he looks like he's destined for the top if you're going off that, to be fair. Like I can't say I've watched a huge amount of Belgian football, but like anything you do see of him, he looks class. Like he's still so young as well. Like the fact that he looks so good and he is that young, like he is just like a superstar in the making, really. And I think we could do far worse than getting him in, but I still wouldn't be selling Joe Gomez. I think we still need at least 4 options this season, so I definitely wouldn't be shipping him off in January. The summer, fair enough, but definitely wouldn't be selling them in January. But yeah, Joel Ordonez is definitely one to keep an eye on.
Well, if you offered me right now one or the other of those two players, I'm going for Ordonez because I think Joe will probably pick up another injury or two anyway. But on Joe Gomez, Chris, before I come to you for your take on, on Joe Gomez, before we talk about Ordonez, I want to say I have nothing but absolute respect, admiration, and gratitude to Joe Gomez for the 10 years plus service he's given to our football club. And I think he's earned the right to decide whether he goes to play more regularly or not. He's been so unlucky with injuries, but the man is a model professional that deserves, and we've talked about Salah's send-off in the future, and the one Firmino got. Joe deserves it, and his testimonial and everything that goes along with it, mate. An absolute fantastic servant to our club.
Absolute legend. Yeah, I think you epitomise it pretty much straight on there. I think he is probably one of the biggest what-ifs at Liverpool. I don't think we'd be here talking about any other centre-backs if he'd stayed injury-free. Like, he at his peak, alongside Van Dijk, even outperformed Van Dijk at certain points. Like, we're talking about one of England's best centre-backs of the generation if he stayed injury-free, but he still had an incredible career. Part of me hopes he stays because I still think he's a really good option. But like, as you said, like he's totally earned the right if he wants to go and play more football. And if a club like AC Milan comes calling at this sort of time in your career, you're sort of like, well, I kind of fancy that. I mean, I probably would if I was Joe Gomez. If AC Milan came in and said, look, you can come in and play 3 out of 4 games and you know, it'll be a key part of our squad. Why not? Got a full English contingent out there already. Crack on.
He gets to play with the LeBron James of soccer as well. I mean,
in great form as well, Christine Pulisic, isn't he? Ready for the World Cup.
Again, and one Liverpool legend departing there in Divock Origi, who's about to depart Milan. Another one coming straight away. On Joel Ordonez, Chris, another really attractive part of this for me is the price tag, rumored to be only about 30 to 35 million pound, and he's 21 years of age. So that's a nice little sweet spot age-wise as well.
Great age, as they would say on Soccer AM back in the day. He is the stereotypical Michael Edwards signing. He's in that 30 to 35 million zone is very FSG, isn't it? Like they love that. That is their sort of like the money they're willing to spend on someone who they back. And I think that sort of age is right as well. As we were talking about earlier about the sort of profile of centre-backs we've signed in recent years. Konate, I think, was 21 when we signed him. Leone, 18. Going forward, I mean, we're not really signed many centre halves of sort of that are slightly older anymore. We sort of go for these players, and yeah, look, if we go for Ordonez, he looks like a really big physical profile, 6'1", 6'2", I think. You know, good on the ball, just like every centre back is these days. And if you're not good on the ball, you wouldn't make it to a Belgian league level. And the Caicedo, Pacho, Nkapie trio, he's only going to be good, really, isn't he? Unless we get, you know, how like there was that photo of Endrick, Esteval, and Luis Guilherme, and West Ham got the shit one. I really hope we don't get the shit one. But I think he's pretty good.
He's also building up some good experience to top level European competition as well. And you could have a little chat with Simon Mignolet about, you know, what life has been like at Liverpool as well.
Brugge.
Club Brugge. I love saying it like that. It brings out the real football hipster in me. I want to talk about the possibility of some sales/loans maybe in January with regards to outgoings. So Endo's name has been brought about, gentlemen, as somebody who could go and start to first team football with the World Cup. I wanted to also then get your thoughts on Rio Wengamoa and what the best plan of action for the second half of the season for him should be. And finally, our manager, our head coach said about Harvey Elliott, he's a Villa player for the season. but that benefits nobody. So I want to know your take on what we should do with Elliot. We'll go with you, Conor, first, and we'll start off with Endo.
Endo, I feel like he definitely will want to go because he wants to get into the Japan squad if they're making it to the World Cup. But I don't think we should be, in all honesty. Like, especially if we are going to be, if we sign a few centre backs, fair enough. But I think we should be keeping Endo around just for a bit more cover, to be honest. Like, if he's pushing for a move, fair enough, maybe do let him go, because I think at this point he deserves to do what he wants with his career at that age and the service he has given us. But if it was up to me, I'd be keeping him. But I could definitely see him moving. Like, I think, who was linked? Was it Marseille a couple of years ago, or last season were linked, and a few others? So I could definitely see something like that happening.
Chris, on Endo, it's another one of those. He's going to see very limited action. I think we have enough bodies in midfield. I know we don't have what we class as a DM or an out-and-out DM, but we've got Bajcetic coming his way back. And it's another one of these. He's been a very respectful backup player who's never moaned or done anything. And if he wants to go and you know, play ahead of the World Cup and it's possible, I'd like to think we don't stand in his way.
Yeah, and I think, doesn't his contract run until next summer? Isn't that I think it's 2027. So I think there's still some value in selling him. We could probably get 4 to 5, 6 million, something like that for him. Like, again, like I don't want to sell him, but if he wants to go, then fine. It's one of those situations. I think he's a very capable backup. And I think when we all signed him, we were like, what? Who is this bloke? Why are we signing this 30-year-old guy from Stuttgart? But he's been brilliant. Like, when he played, especially in his first season under Klopp, I thought he was really, really good in big games as well. But yeah, I think it's time for him. Like, realistically, if, as you mentioned, Bajcetic is coming back, like that's a natural replacement for his minutes, isn't it? So yeah, I mean, fair play, round of applause, and crack on with whatever you want to do.
Really quickly, just for the listeners, it looks as if McConnell has been going to be recalled from Ajax as well. Lots of championship clubs looking at taking him on a loan. And the difference between himself and Elliot would be that he has only represented one club this season, so could still take that move elsewhere. So that news broke earlier on. For Rio and Gamoa, gentlemen, this is a tough one, because in one sense, if I'm, you know, Arna or any coach, I could understand wanting to be the one that molds him, works with him, gets him on the training ground, see his progression. But if we're not going to use him and we're not adding depth to not block the pathway for him, what's the benefit, Conor? The real benefit to his career for just training with the first team and not playing? I just don't understand how that's going to bring him on.
Yeah, I've been thinking about this a good bit the last day or two, and I think like I've started to come around slightly to the idea that we might be right to keep him and not playing too. Like, it's kind of, I don't know what, like, how important, let's say, actual match time is against everything else. Like, I'm sure training every single day with top level professionals, getting used to like the match day routine, getting used to the big crowds at Anfield, all this stuff is very helpful. But like, do you keep that match sharpness or not? Or like, how important is that? Like, you would say it probably is. But maybe, like, if we consider it not to be the most important thing, maybe everything else that goes around it is more important, and maybe it is the right decision. But I think, like, if he's not going to be playing with the first team, at least let him play some under-21 games or something, just to keep him ticking over. Like, if you do want to keep him at the club, fair enough, but he should be playing some sort of football, surely. Like, I would like him to see him get minutes for the first team, but like, even if he's not going to, at least let him play for the under-21s, get him some time on the pitch. Like,
for us, Chris, all we know is we got this kid from Chelsea. Chelsea were really unhappy about it. We all seen the highlights of how good he was. We've seen him skinning people in training. But the part to me that really stands out is we've seen what balls he has when he came on against Newcastle in that moment where I remember Match of the Day that night, and I think it was Shearer and a few others said that even they probably would have taken a touch before they finished that. But he didn't want no touch. He didn't have any fear. He was on that pitch in the most hostile of potential environments we could have went to that season, with the whole Isak situation rumbling on. The kid showed up, buried it, took his chance, and all of us thought, that's the launch pad. That's the moment. What's happened, man? What's gone on since then?
It's interesting. Honestly, I couldn't give an answer, because there's no sort of logic to any of the way that Ngamo has been treated. The only thing is, and I understand it over the last sort of 7 or 8 games where we've sort of just been dying for a win, haven't we? We were, when I remember coming on here after we lost to Forest and we lost to PSV, and we were like, we would have bitten anyone's arm off for just a scrappy 2-1 win, and we've been doing that over the last few weeks. And the only reason why I don't see him being involved is because we're trying so hard to win. I don't think there's like any, sort of discouragement against him, but it's sort of like, well, we don't really want to put the 16, 17-year-old in this situation. In terms of a loan, I don't know where he would go that it would benefit him more than being around the players that he is now at the moment. If we got to the situation when he was maybe 18, 19, I'd be saying yeah. But I think at the moment it's still such a formative time for him. It would be sort of maybe dangerous to send him on a loan to, say, like a lower league team where he could just go and get absolutely battered, and just get his leg snapped, because I'd be worried about that. He's obviously like just one of the most ridiculously talented youngsters, but we've got to be careful. I think I don't know how they're going to operate it really.
Even like if you look at the loans, like you think like McConnell's loan has failed, Elliott's loan has failed, like Bajcetic's career looks like it's been ruined by loans. Like you kind of really do have to get these things right, don't you?
Like I get the balance of not wanting them to be the next Michael Owen, Wayne Rooney, who played so much so young and is burnt out. But I also don't see how we're supposed to really get a read on him. Or, one of the problems we've seen with youngsters coming through, like Bajcetic, like Jadon Danns, is when they start getting the rigors of Premier League football, their bodies are breaking down and they're not used to it now. We haven't even found out that part yet about Rio Engamoa.
Oh, good. Danns looked so good, didn't he, when he came into the team? Like I'm talking like really good control. What's happened? Has he been injured for 3 years? Like,
he's back on the grass training now, thankfully.
I just feel so bad for him and Bajcetic. Like, it's insane. Like, these boys are being demanded to be men so early. Like, their bodies and their mentalities aren't ready for it. Like, I don't know whether, like, what sort of training's been going on, but like the fact that it's happened to so many players at Liverpool, there must be a reason behind that, right? Like, it can't be that these lads are just all, been freak accidents, because it's happening a lot. And I just hope that maybe they're just taking extra care with Rio Engamoa. Maybe that's just the case. But yeah, I think he's a player that's going to be, incredible over the next decade. Let's nurture him a little bit. But I hope that talent doesn't get wasted at the same time.
So really quickly before we move on to Elliott, I just want to say that the problem that strikes many Liverpool fans is we were told we're not blocking the pathway for him, which is absolutely fine. But how long do you keep a squad space open? It's not being utilised by anybody, and there's no pressure on Gakpo, and there's no competition. That's where I get confused with it, and I think a few others do. Is we all see the talent. I understand nurturing a younger player, but I would have expected more minutes at this point. Not every week starts, but 15 here, 20 there. So let's move on to Harvey Elliott, because Arna said he's a Villa player for the season, but that benefits nobody. We know Aston Villa don't want them. We know Unai Emery and Monchi had a difference of opinion there, and ultimately Monchi left. And we've seen that the Aston Villa manager, Unai Emery, has come out and said that they're not going to be making that permanent. Now, we have a duty of care to Harvey Elliott, and also, selfishly, we need another attack-minded player. It feels like a very easy win, Connor, to bring back Harvey Elliott for the remainder of the season, especially since it looks like Chiesa is going to continue to be frozen out.
Yeah, it all makes sense up until that last sentence you said there. Like, the same thing happened to Harvey Elliott last season as well. Like, Arne Slot just doesn't fancy him, which would be a worry if he came back. But sure, he might as well be sitting on our bench than not sitting on Villa's bench, to be fair. So definitely bring him back either way. Like, if he wants to go out to the MLS or God knows where, the Saudi League, anywhere just where he can play, fair enough. But definitely no point leaving him at Villa, because I don't think he's even making the bench anymore, is he? Like, he's literally being left to rot in the reserves. Like, what is the point?
He's played since October, something like that.
Yeah, like, there's no point. Like, bring him home, play him if you want, or if not, then just at least.
But even if we don't play him, Connor, at least if we have a load of injuries, he's there and he's an option for us.
Yeah, exactly. Like, again, he might as well be sitting on our bench as theirs.
Wow. Ridiculous. I find the whole Villa loan thing just bizarre. I understand that Villa are doing really, really well, but why are we not as a club really active in saying, let's get him back? Like, even if it's a case of, let's try and sell him on somewhere, or a loan with an obligation, or let's have it where we have a pre-agreement with someone or whatever. But it's just pointless him being at Aston Villa. They are flying. They don't need him okay, we kind of do. We kind of do need him. Like, in terms of if we're going to try and battle on three fronts now, we kind of do need Harvey Elliott. So, especially when we have, Isak out for as long as he is, Chiesa doesn't play. He doesn't really exist. I mean, he did play the other day and did all right. But anyway, you've got players, we haven't got many, going forward. Why not Harvey Elliott? He's proven that he can do it, although not on a regular basis. Like, there's much more value to Liverpool Football Club themselves in terms of potentially selling him on in the future as well, if we have him in our squad right now. It just makes so much more sense.
Good. We have a consensus on that one then, gents, I think. Let's move into attacking/wide players. I want to start off with Semenyo because it's looking very, very, very much like Manchester City will be his next destination. But, Connor, some journalists just aren't giving up on Liverpool. Maybe, even though you had Paul Joyce saying Liverpool have made 11th hour bids for Diaz and Ugo Ekitike and others previously, kind of don't expect it. But Lewis Steele just doesn't seem to be giving up on the hypothetical. And I think Sammy Mockbill maybe said something on the BBC as well, similar. I can't see him going anywhere but City at this moment myself, but where's your head at with it?
Yeah, it really is a strange one because it's a deal we should be all over. It's a player who I think would probably choose us over Man City as well. So I think I like to believe Lewis Steele because, to be fair to him, in the summer, he was the first journalist to say he thought there was something in the Florian Wirtz stuff that he might come to us. I think he used the phrase like a sneaky suspicion or something that way. So for him to be coming out saying it's not as like cut and dry as him going to Man City, like, there is a chance, a small chance. I don't think it will happen, but I'd be very interested to see if we did try to hijack him, would he decide to come to us? Because I think he probably would pick us over or pick us over Man City. I think Arsenal would have been his preferred destination, but they're not in. So if we do make a bid, I think we do get him, but I'm probably 25% chance that we put a bid in. But yeah, I'd say he probably ends up in Man City, unfortunately.
And also, Chris, with Semenyo, you've got you don't even have to bring him in to say he is the Diaz replacement, he is the future Salah replacement, he is whatever you need him to be across that front line, depending on the opposition and depending who we have available, because he is so naturally two-footed.
And also, didn't he say at the start of the season how amazing Anfield was? Like, come on, he doesn't need much convincing, does he? The only issue is, look, if you're promised a starting role at Man City at the moment, and you're told, right, you're going to be a big player for us, it's a difficult place to say no to, because even with Pep going, like, it looks like they're very much in the title race this season, and well, hopefully, fingers crossed, if it's not Liverpool, they do win the league and Arsenal don't.
And we can't forget about the charges either. I always wonder how any agent representing anybody can say, I can't tell my client wholeheartedly that they might not be docked 15 points for the next 10 seasons, or there is that side of it as well that always confuses me at the minute with City signings.
What that is a thing. I get it. I just sort of, at this point, I almost discounted that in my mind, because I still don't think there's anything that's ever going to happen with that. I really hope there is, but it's ludicrous. Yeah, I think he's destined for us or Man City. I don't really see Arsenal. I know he's an Arsenal fan, but I don't really see it. I just sort of, I can see him going to City far more than us. I think they've got far more about them with this deal itself.
Do you think there's anything, Connor, to what is, and I can only describe as Twitter rumours, that there's a divide behind the scenes between the Hughes and Edwards camp and the Slot camp over Hughes and Edwards want to go get Semenyo, but Arna doesn't? Do you think there's anything to that?
It's hard to know, isn't it? Because you think in that case they'd say, "Well, you're not the manager; you're the head coach. We make decisions. You're getting this fella." Like, what part of Semenyo would Slot be like? No, I don't want him. No, like, why would you not want him? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't make sense in that regard.
He's not Dutch.
Well, that's fair as well, to be fair. But like, yeah, I don't see it being that, to be honest. But I'd be very interested if it was it, but I don't think it would be that.
Can I just go on a complete side rant? By the way, you've just given me something that has been boiling at me. How good has Kirkes been without Gakpo? By the way,
I brought that up yesterday. I brought that up on yesterday's stream. I said, did a poll. I said, are you now convinced by Kirkes? Because we are seeing a great understanding down our left side between him, Wirtz, Jones, It doesn't matter. That left side is looking legit, and they're not getting in each other's way.
Listen, you know how much of a fan I am of Cody Gakpo, but my God, Kirkes looks a different guy with Wirtz there. Insane. Anyway, complete side rant, but yeah.
Well, you are right, and it hasn't gone unnoticed by other people as well. It feels like he is now the starting left back, and it's not a 50-50 toss-up anymore, but it will be interesting to see what happens when Cody's now starting to be reintroduced. Bradley Barcola. Let's go to you, Chris, first on this one. Another name that's been mentioned by Matt Thielen and a few others has been one that Liverpool have an eye on. Not really for January, if we're being honest about it. It does seem like more of a summer thing. My argument against Bradley Barcola has always been that he's very, very wasteful in front of goal. But so was Hugo Ekitike, underperforming his XG until he arrived at Liverpool, and now he's massively overperforming it. So I'm open to that side of it being able to be changed. There is one hell of a talent there, mate. I don't know. Is it realistic that you get him out of Paris Saint-Germain?
I'd love it. I would. I'm still. If I had the chance of him or Semenyo, I'd pick Semenyo. Just in terms of, I think that we're guaranteed something from Semenyo. I honestly, if we got Bradley Barcola in a simulation and we did it 10 times, I think you get 10 different results. Like, you just don't know how it's going to come out with him.
It's one of those, Chris, isn't it, where, sorry for cutting across you. For me, it's like Semenyo's here and now. You know you're getting, but Barcola maybe has a higher ceiling. And if it clicks in a year, 2 years, 3 years, it could be so far ahead of Antoine Semenyo.
100%. It's almost like the Julian Brandt Mo Salah thing. Like, yeah, Julian Brandt might have had a better season, but just look how good this Mo Salah guy is. Like, really, like, if you just dig in a little bit, I think. Look, I just want to. At this point in time at Barcola, we've just experienced 3 years of Darwin Núñez, right, where we are hurting from a player who creates so much for himself and for others, and is so wasteful. I think Liverpool fans are still a little bit hurt from that. So I think it would take a little bit of a while to get used to a player like Barcola. But if he clicks, and we said it all about Darwin the whole time, didn't we? If he clicks, who knows what could happen.
And the final one, Conor, I want to come to you on is the wild card that's come up over the past few days, which is the potential of a 6-month loan deal for Paris Saint-Germain's Gonzalo Ramos.
I'm all over this, to be honest. I think most people don't seem to be wanting the loan deal at all. I think him on 6 months we could do far worse, to be honest. Like, I think even if it saved Ekitike's legs a little bit, I feel like it'd make sense. Like, I would want a buy option, but then again, like, if he was decent, if he does leave again, like, you still have Isak coming back. Like, we still have Ekitike and Isak next season regardless. So I think if it was an option, I definitely take it, but I don't know how realistic it is. But I would be all over that if it's possible, but I know most people probably don't agree with that.
What would be the point of an option to buy, though? Because then we've 3 strikers at that point, and you're probably going to have to move one on, and then we still have Jayden Danns. I mean, the short-term thing I can get, but I wouldn't have any interest in a permanent deal on it.
Be like the Ozan Kabak of strikers, wouldn't he? That's sort of.
I'm still scarred by that Arthur Melo, Ben Davies, mate. That still scars me.
I remember coming on a stream and trying to convince everyone that Arthur Melo would be a great signing, and how wrong we were. Yeah, no, I get the short-termism of it because of the Isak injury. I actually think Ramos is just a bit shit. Like, everything I've seen of him, it just doesn't. He
has more goals in minutes than Gakpo and Salah together this season.
Yeah,
all contributions are very good.
I
will put that out there.
I'm sounding like someone off Twitter now, but the eye test just doesn't pass for me.
I watched more of him actually and was more impressed by him when he was at Benfica.
Yeah, because that's when everyone was after him initially, wasn't it? And then he sort of ended up at PSG. I mean, everyone was like, "Oh, really? Like, what did PSG need with this guy?" He's clearly a good player if he's playing regularly for them, but eye test doesn't pass.
I'm not a huge fan of loans, but I do have to say I'm kind of with Conor on this one. I wouldn't be angry at all if we signed him in a 6-month loan deal as another option. I wouldn't be angry about it. I'm just not a massive fan of loans because you're either fattening up a goose for another team to sell, or you're going to get a player that you like and then disappears, and you're like, oh, I liked him.
I like
Then you've Isak coming back. Like, if you were a bit sad about Ramos leaving, at least you've Isak coming back in. Like,
that's it. That's true.
True. Yeah.
It's been lovely to see all the sympathetic gestures as well from the Newcastle fans towards Isak. All the best wishes, speedy recovery. It's been heartwarming, lads. Thanks for that.
I'll happily say, I'll go out on the limb and say I was fully on the Ozan Kabak permanent brigade. 100%. Like, I crusaded that ship, and then he went to Norwich and was absolutely terrible.
That was
so what
so
we've
sad.
learned so far in this is Chris drinks red wine and Coke, wanted Arthur Mello signed, loves Cody Gakpo and demanded him, and now has had another take there. So, Chris, it's time.
Maybe it's just time for me to shut my mouth. But
yeah,
if I shut my mouth, you won't see the tash moving. So
it's a magnificent tash. Full credit. Nothing but respect for that Ian Rush level tash, top notch. Oh, by the way, really quickly, totally, I'm doing a Chris tangent here. It was so lovely to see all the former players meeting up for the Christmas party or the Christmas drinks, and just got me thinking about, wow, there's some talent, some medal collection, some genius in that group photo, lads. I mean, it was just so lovely to see all those lads again together, especially seeing Hansen and that looking well.
Yeah, I thought I saw it earlier. Ian Rush was like quite unwell recently.
Yeah, he had the kind of super flu that's been going around, and thankfully is back home with his family. But yeah, a couple of days, I believe, in intensive care at the time, and may he make a full speedy recovery. But it's great to know he is home.
Yeah, and it's great to I love the whole Forever Reds thing. I think that's brilliant. Like,
it's glorious. Yeah, it is. It's brilliant, and it's good to see them all together.
Get like Bruno Cheru can just rock up. Oh, jeez. I just looked at him.
Mention of Bruno Cheru and Chris's house falling apart.
Bruno Cheru or and then they can rock up with Kenny Dalglish and they're just mates. I like it. I love that.
I mean, it's just some talent though in that picture, lads. Some amount of trophies. And I hope they all had a wonderful Christmas. So to finish up really quick, lads, a quick chat around defensive midfield. I've intentionally dragged this towards the hour mark, by the way, because I knew it was going to be a long episode because we've lots of things to cover. So Ederson, let's get with that one. Come to you first, Connor. We've been long linked with him. I know he isn't an out-and-out DM. I think of him as an 8. He can play deeper. He has been linked to us once again with a move from Atalanta, but I see no chance, if I'm being honest, that we're going to sign a DM in January.
No, particularly not Ederson. I think Ederson at this point is just it's your hopes and dreams more than actual credible links, isn't it? Like, there's a few links, but there's never anyone too reliable saying it. But you will be an absolute dream sign, to be fair. Like, he's very good, and I think even his price wouldn't be too much, I don't think, for the caliber player he is. So definitely could do worse than him, but I wouldn't say there's any chance for January, maybe the summer.
And Chris, let's go to Crystal Palace, because the two big hot names in English football in that position we're going to talk about. We'll start with Adam Wharton. Obviously, has had some injury concerns, but one of the hottest English prospects in midfield out there. The summer move seems far more likely. Do you think there's any chance of maybe a cheeky, audacious January bid? But more than that, do you think we'll go from longer term?
It's one of those. It's a bit like Wirtz, right? So I had the thought about Wirtz about a year and a half ago. I was like, I'd love to go for him. I just don't think it's very Liverpool. I have exactly the same feelings about Adam Wharton. Like, he is just silky smooth, just beautiful to watch when he's on it. I just think he's destined for City, and it's sad. I can just see him going there and fitting in after Rodri leaves, and it's going to break my heart.
But they've already got in the guy from, was it Benfica or?
Yeah, but it's just so City, isn't it? 100 million on the table, and he'll go there. I think that will happen after the World Cup, to be honest. But I think he'd be amazing for us. I think him and Gravenberch together would be absolutely ridiculous.
Do you think we end up with Wharton long term, Connor, or do you think he ends up elsewhere?
Really hard to know, isn't it? Because again, you would say, "Oh, it's not the type of signing we make," but then we didn't think Isak was that, or Wirtz this summer. It seems to be the way we are going. So I probably wouldn't make us favourites, but I wouldn't be completely surprised if we did go in and get him, because he probably would take 90 or 100 million. So we'd really have to fully believe this is the fella to sort his team out. So whether that happens or not is one thing, but I would 100% take him. I think he'd be my top choice for the DM.
Probably the biggest breakout player this season, Chris, in the position that's really just rose to prominence is Anderson, Nottingham Forest. Near impossible to get a player out of that club with Marinakis and the money they demand. Is he worth breaking the bank for any club? Like, is he really worth that £80 million upwards bracket?
I think so. Yeah. Well, if he carries on at the level that he is, I cannot believe for the life of me that Newcastle let him go there. I just find that totally ridiculous. Like he could have been their starting midfielder alongside Tonali for years and years. Tonali, Gimrich, Anderson, some wonderful midfield. But
oh my God, can you imagine those three? Oh.
Yeah, like that would have been insane. But they've got Joe Linton instead, so it's fine.
He's a hard man though. Don't forget that. Like, he left the pitch crying.
Oh yeah. He'll go and snap our boys' legs. Don't worry. Yeah, he's an incredible player. Like if he carries on at the trajectory he is, like the last sort of 3 to 4 in England camps, he's been like the best player. Like I hope that he carries on going at the similar level, because I think him and Wharton together would work really well alongside with Rice as well. In terms of for us, I think he'd be in that sort of where McAllister plays. I don't think we go for him in the next couple of windows, but if he continues to grow, then why the hell not, man? Why the hell not? Because I don't see Forest going anywhere, if I'm being honest.
If I had to push you, Connor, on which one, or if there's another name or suggestion I haven't mentioned for DM that you'd like to throw in, who would you go out and sign whenever? It doesn't matter. January, summer, wherever we go in for this position. Where's Mr. Crosby's money going?
I'd be going all in for Wharton, to be honest. I think like the homegrown aspect, the fact he's looked so good every week in, week out in the Premier League, I think he is the no-brainer if possible. But then again, he is going to cost a lot of money. So I'm sure if we're going expensive, I go Wharton. If we're going for slightly less, I'd probably go for someone like Ederson, to be fair.
And for yourself, Mr. Stonage?
Anderson would be my choice. I just think he's got more versatility than Wharton. I think he can play in more forward positions. He can play on the left as well, playing a 10 if he wanted to. He's got so much about him. So yeah, he would be my choice. But listen, if Adam Wharton rocked up for 80 million, I'm not going to say no. I'm not an idiot. Like he's pretty good.
I'm somebody who was a bit late to the party for Anderson. It was actually when we played Nottingham Forest, how I appreciated all aspects of his game. You know, as you said, Chris, in multiple facets, defending in his own penalty area, a menace in the opposition penalty area from set pieces, pretty good engine to get around the park. So I'm a bit late to the party on him. But something about Wharton just seems more like a Liverpool player, and one that I can see as being more likely to end up in a Liverpool shirt down the line. I don't know if that makes any sense. I can't really quantify it any which way other than saying it just feels better.
He's from Blackburn, isn't he? Northwest boy. So maybe it's sort of like return closer to home, you know?
Yeah. And I do think with regard to the break and the bank part, I know we've had contract negotiations with Alexis McAllister, but something in the back of my mind just feels like he's not going to see out his final best years of his career at Liverpool. I think he will have another destination at some point before he hangs up his boots.
It's an interesting one, that. Yeah, it's something that it's like a back of the head feeling, isn't it? Like,
yeah, nothing he said indicates it. There's no chatter around it. I love him as a guy. Bought a signed Argentina shirt of his that it's going to take pride of place in my house. Just something's always felt to me, and I've always been open about it, that I think a La Liga move is in the future at some point.
I think so.
And he's been terrible this season as well, so there's that.
It is weird, man, how he's looked so fatigued. Because he's come out in a couple of interviews and said that he's seen some of the stuff and doesn't kind of agree with the fact that he's looking fatigued or isn't himself. And I don't know, would we say, lads, we know Connor's position is certainly one that he doesn't think he's performed to it this season. Would you agree, Chris?
Yeah, 100%. I think Konate's taken a lot of the flack from him because Konate's been at the crime scene a lot, as the manager would say. But McAllister's just sort of like just I don't know, just off. It's weird.
Yeah, it's hard to pinpoint. He just looks tired all the time, doesn't he? He just doesn't look like he has any energy.
He has got better last few weeks. I will say that. But I think he and Jones complement each other a lot. But I I have the same niggling feeling in the back of my head that says that he's not going to be here forever, which is okay. I don't blame him for that.
Yeah, of course, absolutely fine. Not every player that comes to Liverpool has to stay here for their entire career. So, gents, we've rounded this one off nicely. I think we've covered everywhere except goalkeeper. We're not going to talk about that because we've got the best keeper in the world at the minute. We've got Big Georgie back up, and we've got Yarosh, and we've got other options. So we're not going to talk about that. But want to say a massive thank you to Conor and Chris for joining me. To you guys, of course, for watching and listening. We do want to know your thoughts on all the positions that we've spoken about. And we'll see you next year, I guess, guys, won't we? So, Chris, Happy New Year to you. If we'll speak to you before then, and Conor as well. Happy New Year to you, and to everybody watching. Thank you for your support this year from all of us, and Merry New Year to you all. We'll talk soon. Bye bye.